You and your dog are allowed to be both a masterpiece and a work in progress simultaneously. Yeah, that's what we're talking about today. It's going to be good. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Kathy Kowalik, and I believe that our dogs connect us to the heart and soul of what really matters in life. So hang out, and we'll take a deep dive into the human-dog connection and explore strategies that will inspire you to create legendary, enlightened partnership with your dog. This is the Enlightened by Dogs podcast. Kathy Kowalik here, your host of Enlightened by Dogs podcast. And today I thought I would share a few, let's say mindset hacks that have helped me and my brilliant partners, Academy members to, start living a happy life right now, today, even when we have struggles and even when our dog's behavior our behavior is not yet quite where we hope it will be. You know what I mean? And so there's so many things that influence our experiences each day, our past experiences in history, ours and our dogs, right? Our expectations, our goals, our self-image, peer pressure, so many things are the way we think and the way, the thinking habits that we have, how we take responsibility or not, how flexible we are, resilient we are. There's just so many factors and so many pieces that influence what we do today and how we experience each day with our dogs. And so I want to bring forward this idea that you are allowed, and so is your dog, to be both a masterpiece and a work in progress simultaneously. I mean, that's really how life is. I mean, if we think about being perfect in this moment, that this moment in the present, no matter what is happening, is perfect, because we can make this moment into a success one way or the other, either because, we win, we have success, we successfully navigate, these successive moments in a way that creates the future that we envision with our dogs, or it's an opportunity for us to learn how to have a different experience in the next set of moments so that we can create the future of our dreams. You know what I'm saying? And so in this moment, we are already perfect. Our dog is. And when we have a process and we have some tools that we can use to form habits that do align with creating that future, now we can not only look forward to, that vision unfolding, but we can also enjoy the present moment with our dogs a lot, right? A lot of the times we can do that. And so one of the tips, mindset hacks, the first one that I want to share with you is I'm putting this under the category of be resilient. And part of that is, expecting life to have ups and downs, and to be able to retain and maybe cultivate optimism from within that expectation, like this is how life is going to go, right? And to not like beat ourselves up about the downs, or not to get so caught up in the ups that we lose our focus, but to just know that that's how life operates, and to be respectful of ourselves and our dogs, and to give ourselves some grace, and to give our dogs some grace as we are learning how to navigate this life together, right? And when we can sort of maintain that more optimistic outlook, what that enables us to do is to see more opportunities and more options for like what's next, right? And it can help us stay out of judging ourselves and judging our dogs. Because when you think about like which standards are we judging ourselves against, or our dogs against, and when we really pull back and look at it that way, we realize that is not a helpful thing. And the standards are just completely subjective, based on, so many factors, and ultimately not all that relevant. And so there's just no point in falling into judgment, and instead to just be optimistic and to understand that we are going to have ups and downs, and that we can respect ourselves as both a masterpiece and a work in progress, while we look for opportunities to learn and to grow. Right? I mean, it's so helpful and so important, and it's going to make just a big difference in finding enjoyment and pleasure in the adventure of learning. You know what I mean? And then the second tip I wanted to give you is all about looking at what's really important. When we start to be able to discern, the important stuff from the unimportant stuff, life gets a lot happier just from that one thing. And there's a meme I had seen a while back. I think it sort of captures that idea, and it says, life is like a camera. Focus on what's important, capture the good times, develop from the negatives, and if things don't turn out, take another shot. So it sort of brings that into more clarity, that we can get so caught up in chasing after, trying to be perfect, trying to have a perfect dog and a perfect life, and lumping everything together as equally prioritized or equally important. And that's just not useful. I mean, what is important, and what are you putting focus on that is not really important? I don't put a lot of focus on, making sure that my dogs are trained to be obedient, and and to ensure that my dogs are absolutely 100% responsive to every command or every cue that I give them 100% of the time, all day, every day. Like, that is just so unimportant to me. And if I were to focus on that, or were to believe that I should focus on that, you could see how that would add a lot of stress and overwhelm to me and to my dogs, and it would literally stand in the way of enjoying life with my dogs and figuring out what is important. For me, well, what's important is, that my dogs are attentive and responsive to me, that I'm attentive and responsive to them, that we're always, we always have one part of our brain on each other, and like one eye, one ear on each other when we're active and when we're doing stuff, right? That we're not just checking out and ignoring one another, but that we are, noticing and attuned to one another. That's what's important to me. And when I focus on that, now we can sort out what that looks like in any given circumstance on any given day. And then we can communicate that to one another. You know what I mean? And so we don't want to put our focus on, what is ultimately not all that important. And so I would invite you to start looking around at your own life and looking at places where you're putting focus on what's truly unimportant, right? And I mean, are you striving to change yourself or to change your dog's behavior in some way that's really just not that important to you? And it's ultimately not going to change the quality of your life's experience. Okay. That's the kind of stuff that we want to start to sort out, and not spin our wheels, stressing ourselves out and stressing our dog out, trying to reach for things that don't really matter. Okay. That makes sense. And the third tip that I wanted to share with you today, it's a little bit longer one, but I'm calling this the choose your adventure mindset. And there's a couple of pieces to this that I want to unpack for you, but it's all about, if you think about choosing your own adventure and that life with your dog is an adventure in the first place, now you're talking. Now you're off to a much better start and in a much better place to find enjoyment and pleasure and happiness every single day with your dog, even if, your behavior and your dog's behavior is not aligned with your vision. And even if you and your dog are still sorting out, how to understand each other and how to communicate more effectively, right? Even while you're in the middle of sorting that out and figuring that out, life can still start to be enjoyable, right? You know what I mean? And so choose your own adventure. So one aspect of that is that we want to think about how our thinking influences what we experience with our dogs, right? And so when we're thinking about problems and thinking about the things that we're doing wrong or thinking about the things that our dog is doing wrong, whatever, the adventure that we're choosing when we do that is a problem-focused adventure, right? And most of us don't want that, right? That's not the type of adventure that we want to choose. We just sort of get sucked into it, right? And so, instead, turn that around and remember that what we think about the most that's what influences our emotions, like our thoughts influence our emotions, and then our emotions influence the actions that we take, and that all creates our life experience, right? And so paying attention to where your attention is a great way for choosing your adventure. I mean, choosing your adventure, not just going along for the adventure that a life presents to you, but to actually to know that you can make choices that will create that kind of life that you're looking for, right? And so you want to practice, creative solution-focused thinking, and to know that, fail simply means first attempt in learning, right? And we just keep going and stay positive and looking for, solutions. And one of the ways that we can do that as we choose our adventure is to be able to paint a clear picture of where we want to go. So hold the vision, trust the process, right? Hold the vision, trust the process. So first, you have to have a vision. So what is the clear picture of your desired result or your desired experience. And so that's in the moment. And so like right now, you might say, well, I have a very clear picture of how I want my dog to look at me with smiling eyes and a smiling face as I look back at my dog with smiling eyes and a smiling face. I want to make that connection. I have a picture of that, right? That's what's going to create that is if you hold the picture. Like if you create a clear picture of your dog, you're responding to your invitation and eagerly, accepting your invitation and running towards you with that delight and happy face and happy eyes and happy tail as your face lights up and your eyes light up and your heart lights up as you receive your dog's eagerness, right? Paint that picture in your mind, see that picture, paint that picture, hold that vision, and trust the process that you are creating to make that happen, okay? And that's what's going to help you and your dog have an adventure, a life adventure that is full of life and full of love and enjoyment and connection. And when you can think about managing the quality of your participation in life's experiences, that's another way that you are going to be able to choose an adventure that is aligned with the kind of life that you want to live, right? And so learning from your experiences, having a plan, knowing that you're a learner and that what you are experiencing is a result of what's happened in the past, right? And what we choose in the moment is what's going to create the future, which is going to enlarge our experience and enable us to continue to grow and evolve into being the kind of person that is going to choose an adventure that is full of safe, calm, and happy more often than not, right? And so that's how it goes. We just keep growing that and staying focused on the very concept of choosing our adventure, that moment by moment we're making choices and it is an adventure. Life is a grand adventure. And there's a quote that I wanted to read for you because I think it just captures the essence of this idea of choosing your adventure. And so here we go. One day, she finally grasped that unexpected things were always going to happen in life. And with that, she realized the only control she had was how she chose to handle them. So she made the decision to survive using courage, humor, and grace. She was the queen of her own life, and the choice was hers. That's a quote by Kathy Kinney. So I know it's maybe a little philosophical, but it just seems like it captures this idea that we get to choose. And I want that for you. I want you to know that you have the power to make your own choices and to how you respond, and to know that moment by moment you are getting to choose your own adventure. All right. So just to do a quick recap, tip number 1 is to be resilient. And that comes from optimism and bouncing back and knowing that life has ups and downs, and that's okay. Right. And tip number 2 was to really look for what's important to you, and to not get caught up in the drama of things that are not all that important, and to stress yourself out and to stress your dog out chasing after things that are not really that important in the end, right? And then tip number 3 was to choose your own adventure and to look at all the pieces that that give you that ability, and, to think about how we're thinking and to hold our vision, to paint a clear picture. Begin to reprogram your thinking and know that you can learn from your experiences, that you're a winner or you're a learner. And that's okay. Just the way it is, just perfect. Right. And to know that one of the greatest gifts that you could give to yourself and give to your dog, to give to another, is the purity of your attention, and to listen and withhold judgments, and to nurture good habits of receiving and being present and being optimistic and knowing and feeling good about making choices that are aligned with the kind of life that you want to live, so that you can enjoy happiness today and every day, even while you are a work in progress, even that you can be a masterpiece and a work in progress simultaneously. All right, I'm going to leave you with that. And in the meantime, I invite you to imagine what life will be like when you and your dogs can finally understand one another on a deep, deep level. All right, have a great week, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye for now. Thanks so much for listening. And hey, if you would like to work with me so that I can help you discover the missing pieces you need so that you and your dog can finally be happy and enjoy life together, then head on over to dancingheartsdogacademy.com and request your invitation to join us in the Brilliant Partners Academy when the doors open for the next enrollment. See you next time, and remember, a brilliant partnership with your dog makes your whole life brilliant.